What is going on? Welcome to Badass Agents Podcast. I am your host, AZ Arajo. And of course, every time we have this podcast, you know we have a badass here with us. And today, it is my brother from another mother, the one and only Mr. Rio Vidrio. And guess what? Vidrio means like glass, bro. You're sharp as glass. Your looks may not tell that, but you are a sharp dude. I just mess with you. Hey, thanks for coming in, man. You're a busy man, and you find the time to come in. And you know I'm gonna give you some shit, bro, just because I know you a little better, dude. Like, I heard you had a fiance, man, and I know this girl. I know this woman.
Yeah, man. So Nilza is my fiance. She also happens to be Mr. AZ Arajo's sister. Now,
she is my sister. So this dude right here is my future brother-in-law. Gonna make it happen here in November. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations. I know you have some stories when we first met each other, and I wanted to kind of discuss that a little bit.
Oh yeah. All right, let's go.
And but you know, you've come so far, man. Like, I've seen every aspect of your life just level up to another level and level up to a new dimension, I should say. And you were so happy just a couple days ago about a text that you got from your son. And before we get into like how we met and stuff like that, I want to talk about that. You know, to be a successful entrepreneur, to be a badass agent, it's not always just thinking about the business. It's about putting the deposits in every aspect of your life. Now, Rio Vidrio is going to sell nearly $8 million in sales, right? Is that where we're at?
That's what we're in.
$8 million. Yeah. And he's only in his second year. And I think we get caught up oftentimes, right? That's top 2% in the state. Once you start getting around 11, 12, you're now reaching top 1%, right? And here's the thing. I think we get too caught up trying to compare ourselves to those that are producing at 50, 60, 80, 100 million, that we realized in order to get 50, maybe you need to get 10 first. And maybe from there it's 15, 20, 25. So we get overwhelmed by constantly hearing about these ultra mega producers that we're like, fuck, we're broken. And here's the thing. I'm going to show you someone that's on this path that he will one day be there. But guess what? He's only in his second year, already selling what most people can achieve after decades in this industry. But I want to tell you something, dude. Like, you were able to get there because of the deposits you're making, not only for your business, but what you're doing with your family. Tell me about this text that you got, man. You were elated about it, and you sent it to me because it was from your son, right?
It was, yeah. So my son Isaiah and I, we've had a close relationship since we were young. We grew up together. I had him when I was 19.
19, yeah.
And
you're a young father.
Yeah. And then it was just him and I for a couple years until I met Nilza. And then ever since then, she's definitely been helping fill in the gap. But over the last couple of years, he's getting older. He's about to be 10 years old. So he's kind of getting into that stage where it's really crucial to try to build that relationship. And I joined your Do the Work.
The 12-week
course.
Challenge, yeah.
And the timing couldn't have been better, man. Just because I felt like there was times where he would go and talk to his mom about stuff that I expected him to talk to me about as his father, right?
Yeah, the expectation, right? The entitlement. I'm your father. You tell me certain things.
Exactly, man. And it was just it was hard. So then, like I said, the timing was just perfect. I started the program and I started my daily deposits. Sending him messages every day.
The little things.
And we're on the tail end of the 90 days now.
Yes.
Right?
This is your last week for the 12 weeks. Unreal, right? Quick.
But that just goes to show you right there how long it took. I mean, we started this in July.
Yes.
We're about to end it, and I just got this text message from him yesterday. The first time that he gave me like a genuine response. He said something so simple, but it was just the fact that he responded. He took the time to acknowledge the fact that I was texting him at 5 a.m. We were on a bike ride, and we wake up at 4 a.m. So then I'm doing my core 4. I'm green smoothie and meditating, all the good stuff. Part of that, of course, is sending a text message to Nils and my son. And then when he wakes up, which was around 8, he just says, "Wow, Dad, how do you wake up so early?"
Like this admiration, right, towards you.
Yeah. And then it was just like I felt like a superhero in that moment.
That is so awesome. Not out of all the deals you've closed, out of this is what elated you, man. This is what made you happy, and that's the thing. Like, we forget the important things as we're trying to grow a business.
Yeah.
And when you can have the support, right, where you're just not the just the overall breadwinner, right? Where you're just not the overall breadwinner, but someone who's the number one coach and mentor, the greatest coach and mentor to your kids. It goes somewhere. That like fuels your ambitions to grow your businesses even more because you have a connection at home. You're trying to just make sure that all aspects of your life are going at a high level. And you mentioned this, man. Like we had a pre-interview here, and you've been doing this like even for your body, man. Like you've been moving. You're part of our cycling crew. But you also just have taken this big approach to where you're taking control, because it could have gone the other way around. In the last 2 years, you could have, I know you've lost some weight, you've gotten great shape, but it could have been the latter. It could have been something different where you would have gained more weight or been more out of shape.
Right, and that's the thing. Like honestly, that is as a realtor, as a real estate agent, that is one of the biggest things that people say. You get stressed, you start eating like shit.
If you stress is
yeah. So it could have, like you said, it could have gone the complete opposite. Like I wasn't in horrible shape when I became a realtor.
Well, that's messed up.
Oh man,
come on.
No, so I was in bad shape, but not like horribly morbidly obese. But the fact is, like, yeah, you're right. Like it could have been complete opposite. And no, I mean, I turned it around, and my cardio is the best it's ever been. I incorporated more weight training recently. I had gotten away from that ever since we started doing the Do the Work 12-week program, and now I just feel great. I set some lofty goals as far as what I wanted to do.
We're actually doing a Centurion together, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing that the week before I get married. So Nilza,
no kidding.
Yeah,
damn, I didn't know it was like that.
so Nilza, if I show up in crutches or a wheelchair, you have AZ to blame.
Hey, dude, you should have done better planning.
It just worked out that way, but that's huge, man. I mean, 100 miles. Can you imagine?
That's huge.
Like last year when I started cycling with you guys, my first bike was Carla's bike.
It was Carla's. We call it the Iron Maiden female edition.
Oh man,
because my bike was too tall for you.
Oh man,
so you were riding around with this really cool pink pinstriped like bike.
But hey, look, that's what I had to do, because I said, you know what, I'm gonna go out cycling. I didn't have a bike yet, so then I did it, and I didn't think to think that, and then see where we're at now and cycling and what
it's insane. And it all just happened was just making intentional action towards improving.
Yeah.
And you cannot lose when you condition yourself to win. So as we start looking at your life, man, like what the small deposits that you made for your business, now it's reaping the benefits. And here's the thing, the exciting part about this is that you're just getting started, dude. What your business is today is just you're already setting the foundation. I mean, this is the foundational work. Just imagine when things start really moving. I can only imagine where you're going to go, and it's because you are intentional about every aspect of your life. You're creating that fire and that drive and that purpose in every aspect as you work on your marriage, as you work the bond with your children, with my niece, and it's like this is all like it's just you get to a point where like, oh, life can work. It can work at a high level, and you become in like more aware of the dysfunctional aspects of our life, right? Upper limits.
Yeah.
Now, you faced several challenges as you were trying to grow your business. Right. Several challenges. What has kept you consistent, man? Like, how have you been able to produce at this level?
Having a routine down, and that's something that it took me, a while to pick up. When you first become a realtor, it's just like you're running wild. You're out there. You don't know what to do. You're basically putting, a little bit of effort here, a little bit of effort there, and then there's something that since day one that you've said since day one. It says, "What's worked for you, right? What got you to this point? Okay, well, do that, but more of it." And it's just it's a simple concept, but it's just like. Because you have these little moments where you kind of take a dip and you're like, okay, what's next? What can I do now?
What is somebody else doing?
Yeah. And that's exactly what I've done. I've been able to grow my business through social media, through Facebook. So I've doubled down on it, right?
You're good at it, yeah.
Started doing more of that. I started doing daily live videos. I'm starting the podcast. I do a weekly recap on Mondays. And now I started incorporating Instagram into that. And I'm doing paid advertisements. So instead of going and investing in paid lead sources, instead of going and doing this and that, I did exactly what you said. You said, What got you to this point? Do more of that. So then last year when the year was over, I was able to sell $5.5 million in real estate. And to me, that was just,
sure. Yeah.
It was a huge deal to me, right? Because I hit my goal. My goal was 5. And then at the beginning of this year, I was like, shit, how am I going to do that again?
Yeah, you were thinking, oh, that was the best I could ever produce.
Yeah, man. I thought it was a fluke, it's beginner's luck. And then no, you make your own luck and you set the right, the right process to do that. So, and that's exactly where I'm at. I've already reached the same amount of sales that I've.
And we still have like 3.5 months left.
Yeah.
And that's unbelievable, man. And you've built a lot of momentum here over the summertime with the different processes, the systems, the marketing that you've implemented into your company. And your fourth quarter is going to be an amazing fourth quarter where you're helping multiple families, multiple investors, multiple buyers, because you've set yourself up as the authority. And it's like, what do you do best? And double down on that, right? And I think that's a roller coaster that a lot of agents go through. They don't think that their way is the right way. They think that somebody else has it all figured out. When you really start to decipher what got you there to begin with, like if you close the 3 transactions, what actions did you take? What kind of mindset were you in? Where did you go? What did you do? What was your daily routine? And you'll realize that there's a pattern to be able to duplicate that. Now, if you want more of that, here's the thing that we have to be able to embrace and grasp, that if you want to double your business, you're going to have to double your efforts. Okay? Now go look and see what else somebody else is doing so it can and minimize what you've done, is to emphasize what you're good at and then double that. And it's a process that works, but here's the thing. We don't allow time to take its course. And I'll get individuals that say, hey, Z, I've done everything you've said for 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way. Here's the thing. If you're doing everything that is required, because there's a big gap between what is required and doing your best. Okay? And some people think that doing their best is the same as I'm doing what is required. To be in this industry, there's a lot of requirements. And what was required 2 years ago or 5 years ago is minimal to what is required to succeed at this level today. The competition is greater, right? We have technology companies coming in. So your efforts of what worked for you then may not work for you now, but guess what? You just do more of it. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people are scared of pushing themselves. And it's because they're just not seeing a bigger, kind of like for you, you hit that upper limit where you're like, how am I going to do this again? Right. Until you just open yourself up to that and you were like, oh, I just have to be better.
Yeah, just do more of that.
Do more of that. And I remember one of the first conversations we had, right? You had a couple deals that closed. And I think this is where the conversation came up. And you're like, hey, Z, like how much money, like, should I spend all this money on Zillow? Like you were just getting started. You were like, hey, should I spend $900 on Zillow? And I said, hey, Rio, like, here's the thing. Zillow is great, builds great businesses. It will get you results. However, it's only good if you have a process in place. Mm-hmm. If you can't simply call back your clients today, if you can't make the phone calls to the people that know, like, and trust you today, if you don't have a steady stream of follow-up, of emails, of text messages, or just a constant flow, then Zillow, you're going to be one of those agents that bitches about this process as opposed to those that are really benefiting from it. So I said, why don't you work on this first? Mm-hmm. Then something like this will supplement that. And that's the thing. We have to take this small approaches. There is no easy way. Zillow is not easy. You have to put in the work. So if we're unwilling to do the minimum requirements, this ain't gonna work for you either. Right. And everyone's looking for the shiny object, man. But you know this. It's hard work, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, at that time, I wasn't ready for Zillow. Absolutely not. I mean, because I didn't have the certainty, I didn't have the commitment to be able to put in the time and the effort to actually grow Zillow. Zillow it's a whole beast of its own. You know? So if I wasn't already doing, these little, things that I had to do, how was I going to go and just throw money away to Zillow?
Yeah.
And it was the best advice you ever gave me because I don't feel like I need it. I was able to grow my business from within organically. Eventually, maybe down the road, absolutely, that's going to be the next progression. Right?
Yes.
Paid advertisements. But I'm already doing a version of paid advertisements on social
Yeah.
media. So at the time, it wasn't for me. Maybe it is now. But
yeah. But I would say, paid advertising, it's just important. Paid advertisement it has to be a crucial part of your business. Now, that's just one medium.
Yeah.
That's just one medium. And you doing your targeted ads and doing your ads, that's another medium. So, it's just, you've already added that. Right. So if you ever feel like it's another level, yeah, absolutely. We can dabble in it. You'll have the finances, you have the resources to be able to test it for 6 months. And that's the thing. People don't have the patience to test anything for 6 months, including getting into this industry. Like, I can't tell you. And if you're a brand new agent and you're struggling with this right now, right? Not building your business, like, try 15 years of this shit. 15 years. So you can't compare yourself to a ultra high producer. And there's a lot of them, great realtors. Many of those are my personal friends here in Arizona or wherever you're watching us from. Like, it's hard to compare to those guys because they've been through the gamut. They've been through hell and back because this is a tough industry. It really is. So getting in here and feeling frustrated or entitled, I've been in this business now 6 months and I still can't. It's continue to understand that this is about allowing the work that you put into it to flourish over time. And if you're if you're intentional, okay, let me correct myself there. If you're intentional every day, the work will always marry up to the result. Every single time. But dude, now let's talk about, we talked about business here. We talked about your son, about what you're doing for your body, your being balanced in business, the core four, the Warriors way, right? They made up this really cool process to be able to follow. Talk to me a little bit about what it means to you now, getting married, man. This is a huge step for you. How did this? Let's talk about first before we go there. Like, how did we meet? What was your first impression when we first met, dude?
Man, you're putting me on the spot on that one.
It's all right. It's all good, man. It's all good.
I met you in 2013. So
was it 2013?
It was, yeah. So 2013 is before you went through a complete transformation.
Dude,
of who you are now.
Yes,
and
I was a little jerk still back then.
The person that I met is not the person that you are today. And that's the thing. You shattered all these perceptions of what you had. I mean, that's something that that's common, I guess. You have these perceptions and then you just completely shatter them. So when I first met you, typical, successful, and then I'm like this kid, like I'm trying to date your sister. So it was definitely like one of those situations where I was just kind of trying to prove myself in a way, but at the same time, it's like, you're a heavy hitter. Like, how am I going to compete with this guy? How can I stand out from the crowd? And then that was actually the reason why I joined real estate, man. So a lot of people, that have come to the brokerage, they come because they're existing realtors and they want to make more money, right? Yeah. That's the surface level, right? Where I saw your transformation firsthand from 2013 to 2014, 15, 16. I saw it firsthand. I joined the brokerage in 2016.
Yeah, so you saw a couple of years of that process,
I told Nilza, I said, I want to be a part of that. I want to go where he's going because I'm at the point right now and he's at the point where maybe I can still grab on and he won't just take off, right? Now, had I joined the brokerage now, 2018, there's absolutely no way I would have been able to go out there and ride a bike with you or sit here next to you and have this podcast, right? So I saw the family standpoint. I saw more. I came into your office and you had a wall full of books. I mean, so I saw all of those parts, and then to me, real estate was a byproduct. Yes. So now I see it firsthand. I live it firsthand. And that is why I became a realtor. That's awesome, man. You can ask Nilza that, and she'll vouch for me, man.
Dude, that is awesome. I think that's the first time I heard that, and I forget that you did see that, because I was a different person. And that's the thing, like, we can change as individuals because it's real easy to be lethargic and go through many, many years being the same fucking person. Yeah. And it's painful. It's painful not to grow to what you were meant to be. And I was in that spot. I was in a dark place. And 2013, man, you met me in 2013. I was in a very I was in a dark place, and I didn't let many people know. Carla and I, what we were going through, not a lot of people knew. And, you know, I was still living with a lot of layers of I was in a facade, right? My life was a facade. It was just posturing and just angry within myself and just wanting something different. And you're right, man. I started making those changes right around 2014 into 2013. 14, 15, yeah. So by 2016, you did see something significantly different.
And I just wanted to be a part of that, man.
Man, I'm glad you joined, bro. I couldn't be prouder of you, man. You know, just I've seen you flourish into a very certain individual, you know, and constantly just knowing that, man, maybe I can pull that off. Constantly just challenge. Maybe I can go. Maybe, you know, it was meant for me, not that other person. And that's the problem. Like, we think somebody else is always greater. And it all comes down to is they just had a maybe bigger head start. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That's okay. I wouldn't give up my journey for anyone else's. Like, I feel like I am the most fulfilled person in the world. And no one can take that away from me because I believe it. And I have everything that I want, and I still want to be able to get better at everything that I do. And that's the same thing that I'm seeing from you. Like, you're constantly just pushing yourself, trying to learn. And you're asking for books on marriage. You're asking for books on personal development. You're telling me, hey, what's a good mark? You're like really trying to soak this up because you know now it is a generational impact.
Absolutely, man. Whatever I do today, whatever I do the next couple of years is something that's going to have an effect on my legacy, my son's legacy for generations. I have younger brothers. I mean, it's something that I definitely... Growing up, you don't have that, right? You don't have that kind of person to look up to, that process, that mindset, right? So then kind of, you know, being a part of the brokerage has just completely just blown that. I mean, at this point, I know it sounds cliche, but money is a byproduct of what I'm building now. And slowly, and the wheels are turning little by little, and I'm starting to notice, I'm just starting to notice changes throughout the board with my family, with those other kids.
Finances,
everything. Man. So honestly, if you change it, right? Most people obviously they come into the business to try to become, you know, great realtors and make money. But if you switch that mindset and you flip it around and you decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a better person, a better father, a better husband. I'm going to be in touch with myself spiritually. The money is just going to come. Eventually, that will just happen. Yeah,
because if you're intentional about one thing, odds are you're going to be intentional about multiple things, right? Including business. So it's like having success in all aspects of our life is a responsibility. If you really want to be a good businessman, we all can achieve that. But it's being able to do all things at the same time that distinguishes those that are making a huge impact on this world. And I see people reaching out to you and saying, hey, Rio, thank you for sharing this, man. It impacted me greatly. How does that make you feel when you put something out there about yourself? You're very raw. You're very real. You showcase a lot of what's going on in your life. How does that make you feel?
It feels good, man. It's a humbling feeling, you know, to have people that will actually take the time to reach out to you and give you some feedback, especially, you know, most of the time it's positive. Every once in a while, you know, you'll get those passive aggressive comments. You've grown very accustomed to that. So you know what that's like.
Like Carla says, that's just my fuel. That's another sentence. Oh, no, that's content. No, the
more
fuel,
content.
That's just more content. Thank you, because you're giving me content. The people that come back positively, that's the fuel. The people that come in negatively, that's the content I need.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's that fire to get that next video going, man. And I've had a few, you know, where that happens, and then I come out and I have a great video the next day. And that's that part right there alone. So, you know, the selfie videos, I mean, that was a big deal. And then we talked about this where since I started in 2016, you've told me, hey, selfie videos. You told the brokerage, selfie videos. And it was something that I was like, all right, I'll get to it. But it wasn't until I started doing them every single day.
Every day.
Since we started to do the Work 12 program, every single day that I've seen the results of it, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you couldn't tell me how to gain certainty. You couldn't tell me how to be committed.
I can't give it to you, right?
It has to come within, and that's the hard part.
That's so good.
That's the hard part is is taking that first step. And I can relate that to anybody that wants to join the brokerage. Just taking that first step, that's a hard part. The rest just kind of comes naturally. So it's just crazy. It's taken off. It's blown up.
It's awesome. And you know what you've done, you've actually stepped forward. You and Jesse say the same thing, where I lean in.
Yeah.
I lean in. And that's what makes my job so rewarding. You know, just those that continue to lean in and just put themselves in those uncomfortable situations, right? And continue to shatter their stories. That's not an easy task. And we've had several agents that have come through and just couldn't handle that because it was so uncomfortable. But the reality is you can't have these ambitions of wanting it all and not willing to get uncomfortable and not being able to bear that pressure. And it's not like we're not the ones putting the pressure. We just open you up to that possibility. And that possibility alone for some is just so overwhelming. It's like, I can't do that. I can't put a simple phone to my face. That's like going on stage and trying to talk in my underwear. Like, that's so tough. And it's like, it's just a fucking camera. Why is there such a big story? And, you know, what they don't realize is those reps day in and day out is what makes them more certain. Is what starts creating that appreciation for oneself. Is that it allows you just to get better. The reps, right? Your communication gets better. Your ability to convey at a moment's notice gets better. Not where you're taking 100 takes to get it perfect, but just being you authentically and just going with the flow. And guess what? I fuck up sometimes. Like, I'm stuttering. I can't have a simple word pop into my mind, so I'm like pausing. But guess what? It happens less often, and when it does, I don't care. Because I'm human. I make mistakes. And that's the thing. You cannot be successful in this industry if you're not confident, if you're not certain. I don't care how much I teach you in skill set. I don't care how many open houses you do. I don't care how much Zillow leads you get. If you don't have that certainty behind you, you won't have shit. Period.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and that translates to business when I have my listing presentations, my buyer's consultations.
Yeah.
I mean, to have that same certainty transition into the real world where that's where you are making the money is definitely a game changer.
Yeah.
I can tell you that ever since I started the program, the way I go into a conversation with a potential client is just completely different. I go in there knowing I am going to be the best realtor for them because I'm certain of it, because I know that I am going to work my ass off to get them whatever the outcome is. If they're buying, they're selling, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, doing the live videos, entering the Do the Work program has given me the certainty that I need in all aspects. But of course, at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to help me produce more because it gives me the right tool that I need.
Dude, I love it. You've been applying so much of what we talked about and the things that you just set for yourself. And that's the thing, like, there's not a roadmap that someone's going to give you and say, okay, this is the only way to do it. What we try to do, and he talks about this program right here. This is the Do the Work 12-week target program that he invested in himself and actually went with it and showed up on all the calls and was constantly just reflecting on where he can take himself and his business. And it's all these little deposits that he did through the entire weeks, right? Because this is a step-by-step process, not a step-by-step, but just a catalog of the small steps he was going to take. And now he can look back and say, wow, like, I'm really close, like, I'm at where my targets are at. But one thing that I realized that, coaching this group through this process is that everyone just got better. Everyone started exercising more than they've ever have. Everyone started meditating, creating some space for their life more than they've ever had, being more connected and intentional with their children, intentional with their spouses and their business, better marketers. Every one of these individuals that went through this program are better business people because of that. And again, it was nothing difficult, right? The difficulty came in what? The consistency.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And guess what? You're conditioning yourself to win, and you absolutely you killed it, man. You killed it. You've applied so much from 12 weeks ago to today, and you continue to do so. And that's just an amazing thing. You got a podcast coming up, right? And you're doing it with a coworker?
Yeah, so I have had my own little thing going for the last couple of weeks, and I didn't realize it was a podcast.
That's not stopping, right?
No, that's going
okay.
on. Yeah,
okay.
that's been, but I didn't realize it was a podcast. And so one of my clients kind of said it. She said, "Oh, I was listening to your podcast the other day," and then I was like, "Oh shit,
shit.
I guess it is a podcast." I
I just got to put it on the podcast channel.
Yeah, just got to have the better quality mic, the better. And then it's a funny story. So I actually talked to you. I said, "Hey man," I said, Jesse and I we're talking about doing our own podcast. We're gonna have it somewhere sometime during the week." And I said, "Hey, can I come check out your studio?" Right? And then I was like, "I want to get some ideas so I can get the right equipment. Like, I want to basically, I'm just gonna mimic what you're doing." And then he said, "I don't know if you're ready for that studio yet, but how about we go to the studio in the office that we have set up and then get some ideas off of that?" And it's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And basically, I said, "Okay." I went to Guitar Center and I said, "I want that, and that." And they were trying to sell me on some bullshit. They're like, "Oh, you want need this and this." I said, "The guy that I know, the one that is leading by example, said do this, this, and this. So that's what I want. I don't care." The guy, he was, he was shopping out of his
Experience,
out of his pocket. He was trying to save me, $100 a year. At the end of the day, this is what I know works. So give me what works. So that podcast will be going live next Wednesday.
Awesome.
Jesse and I, we share an office, and we've grown a lot together the last couple of months. With the cycling and then attending, the warrior events and stuff.
Yeah. And you also did the Do the Work 12-week target program with us.
Yeah. So we're excited, man. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be some good stuff.
Dude, I can't wait. And it's just the next logical step, right? But if you're not doing the reps, right, with the selfie videos, if you're not doing the reps, actually communicating, this step of podcast, this step of like being in front of the camera, it's never going to come into fruition. The step of like being able to teach in front of big crowds, it's like nothing. I've been on crowds like 500 people in the audience, and it's just like it's like any other day, and it's because of the small reps. And here's the thing: I'm going to give you guys a little insight here. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little insight. I was terrified, absolutely terrified of talking in front of big crowds, right? The reason I don't want to grow my brokerage, which sounds silly today, the guys within my brokerage, I share a lot. They know this already, is because I knew that I had to lead it. And I didn't want to lead it. I didn't want to be responsible. And I knew I was going to have sales meetings. And guess what? I'm going to have to teach things. And I'm going to have to share things. And I didn't want that because I didn't know who I was. But the reps got me to a point where I don't think anything's impossible for me. And it's just a matter of time. Give me a simple plan, right? Give me a simple plan and enough time. I'm going to pull that shit off. And here's the thing, like take that into consideration as you're starting to grow your business. This is for the long game. If you're facing those temporary defeats, like, God, if that's stopping you, you got to ask yourself, how bad did I want it? And I want to tell you something, guys. Like, I know there's a lot of you that have kind of been sitting on the fence about AZ and Associates, and you kind of skirt around. I see you guys, right? Where you're skirting around, you'll kind of dabble in, but you'll go to the brokerage right down the street, and then another one, and it's like, why aren't you pulling the trigger? Why aren't you listening to your voice? And it's like the significant impact perspective in general can make on you can be life-changing. But Rio, I want to ask you that question, man. What would you tell those individuals that have kind of been sitting on the fence about joining AZ and Associates and haven't pulled the trigger? What would you say?
So at this point, if somebody hasn't joined the brokerage yet, right, they've seen the videos, they've seen the testimonies, they've seen where you've turned into not just a brokerage, a multimedia just powerhouse, podcast after podcast, video after video. If at this point they haven't hopped on board, it's either going to be one of two reasons, right? Reason one is somebody's scared. They're just scared to get put into that environment, to get put, to have somebody make them bust their ass and grow and be more, right? That's going to be one of they're scared of the work, or they're scared of the environment. They're intimidated. The second one is it's just somebody that's too proud, too prideful to ask for help. Somebody that thinks they have all the answers. Somebody that thinks they have it figured out. They went through maybe a crash at one point and then they survived it, and they're just too prideful to ask for help, for new tools, new ways, more modern. It's there. The statistics are there. The brokerage is a powerhouse when we go to the WeMar events.
Yeah.
We just owned it last year. So that it's either one of those two reasons. I can't see any other logical reason why somebody wouldn't join the brokerage at this point.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. And here's the thing. We're not trying to get you to do what we do. We just want you to get you to do what you know you should be doing. And sometimes we just need somebody to be at our ear on a consistent basis. And guess what? We're that squeaky little wheel. Over and over, the same squeaky wheel you have suppressed within yourself. We become that person, right? And guess what? It works if you really want it. But I've seen individuals weed themselves out of here because just like they suppress their own squeaky wheel, right? They try to suppress themselves out our voice. And the reality is it all comes down on you. And here's the thing. You may have all the skill sets in the world. You may have been a big top producer. Maybe you're a top producer now. But if you're not feeling fulfilled and fire, right? If you're not feeling that every day, then I want you to consider that there may need to be a change in your life. If your marriage is not where it needs to be, if your body's not serving you anymore, right? You're stressed out of your mind. Consider that there's a different way. Maybe the money's not there. And it hasn't been there for years, but you're comfortable with that franchise. You're comfortable with that low fee brokerage. Consider that there's something out there that can serve you at a greater capacity. But Rio, I want to thank you for joining me, man. And again, I'm welcoming the day that you join our family. It is an honor for me. You've grown, and I know. I have to say this: my sister knows how to make good decisions, bro. She made a good choice with you, bro. Made a good choice, and I'm proud to be your future brother-in-law. Continue to level up, bro, and thank you for your contribution to this podcast today. And any last words from Rio?
That's it, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Something that I've been looking forward to. The name was called, and I was ready. I hope I brought the fire, man.
Oh, you brought it, bro. You brought it. I know you brought the inspiration for those that are just kind of sitting on the fence and are lost with their own business. You know, he is a testament that if you just focus on the small things every day, you can get these results. And what's exciting, the smile that he has on his face is not by accident. Is he knows the work he's been putting in, and there is a path. And here's the thing. Just allow time to take its course, and it all comes together. If you're doing the work every fucking day, you will get your results. You just got to allow them to marry up to that, right? And but, dude, you're doing good things. You've put your money where your mouth is. You joined the Do the Work 12-week program. You're constantly in the cycling group and pushing yourself there. You're making results in your business. The finances are there. And you're making great gains. So thank you again for being my guest. For those of you that are looking to make a change or wanting to learn more about AZ & Associates, go and you'll see a little address here is www.empire.vision. That's it. Just www.empire.vision. Check out the content. Check us out on Facebook. Check out our podcast. We also have a Do the Work podcast, which Carla and I do together. And just check it out, because what we put out there is exactly who we are. It is a mindset, right? It is a lifestyle. I just don't say one thing and live another. I am what I preach. I am what I do. And here's the thing. It's very contagious. It's very contagious. It's a good disease, where it's a contagious good disease. And maybe that's what you need in your life. And I would encourage you to go to www.empire.vision and apply to join. And what that'll do, that'll qualify you for a one-on-one session. And I'll tell you what, these sessions are so powerful that if you decide that this is not the place for you, you will come out of there with 100% more value than what you came in with. This value will serve you in a positive way. So again, if you're a new agent, a seasoned agent, top producer or not, check us out. Check us out, www.empire.vision. And until the next time, we will talk to you soon.